Hey, you guys have a bunch of bullpen guys in camp competing for spots.
Yeah.
I know it's only been, 7 games, a couple weeks, but is anyone popping, anyone standing out to you that,
It's still early, as you said. So, no, they're all doing what they need to do. They're throwing well. Now, Garcia, Robert's the one we have not seen, but he's ready to go. I think we have him scheduled to pitch on Monday. He's going to be a big part of the late inning relief. And as I said earlier, there's not going to be defined roles right now, and we'll see how it goes. May get to where it is more defined, but it's going to be more of getting the matchups we want, those pockets, and we got a couple of good left-handers down there for sure, and some good right-handed experienced guys, and got 2-3 spots open in the bullpen. So it is a priority, to get that right before we leave camp. So that is a big focus of ours.
excited to get a good look at Garcia finally?
I am. I look forward to watch some good stuff. I mean, throw strikes, good change up, big fastball. So he is a guy that will be in the mix, that last inning.
You won a World Series here with the bullpen, obviously kind of in a state of flux almost right to the end, but you also won it with Brian Wilson locking things down. What's the difference for you? I mean, does it matter? I mean, do you feel like bullpen is just something that can resolve itself?
Well, I'll say this. It's always nice to have guys down there with defined roles, but, it's up to the manager to adjust to the bullpen that he has. And, we do have some guys that have pitched in that last inning, but, not the Wilsons, as you mentioned, the Hoffmans, those guys, because they help keep things in order. I think we saw how that can work last year when Yates assumed that role and did a terrific job, and that may happen this year. So when you go into the season with options like we have, but not quite as defined, that's up to us to get that. And I don't want this to be too fluid down there. I would like to, kind of have a good set order, and I think we will, with the guys that we have down there.
What have you seen from Robbie Ahlstrom?
I really like this young kid. He's got this attitude you like about him, this bulldog look. He's throwing 94 with a good breaking ball and throws strikes. He's not afraid out there, and don't be surprised to see him at some point.
For guys like Justin Foscue, Dustin Harris, I guess that older prospects, I guess you want to call them that. I mean, there's a tough path to playing time, right? Just with the roster you have. What do they need to do to put themselves in the best position to?
Well, it's all about it's always performance based. So I'll say this: I'll start with Dustin. I mean, I love the improvement he's made. He got called up, got a couple of games, hit the home run, and I think that did so much for his confidence. And now he comes in camp, and I think he's put on about 15 pounds. I mean, good pounds, and he's really swinging the bat well. He can play all three outfield positions. Does a good job on all three. Can steal a base for you, and so this kid's really making a lot of progress. Justin, came up, had his struggles last year. With him, it's the bat. The bat's got to play. Being a guy that can play first or second, maybe DH, and that's going to be his ticket. To get consistent time in the big leagues. Right now, there's guys ahead of him, to be honest, and so. But at some point, hopefully, he gets his game going to where it was, I think, a year ago, earlier, and where he can help us, if something happens. Now, I'm not rolling him out completely. I don't want to do that now, but I think you look at what's in front of him, it's going to be tough for him, to get playing time.
What stood out to you about Jack Leiter so far this spring?
Presence probably as much as anything. He just looks so much more confident. I threw the ball great yesterday. The one breaking ball, it just stayed up and left the ball apart. But He's got this two-seamer going. That's a pitch I think is going to really help him. It can run in on the righties. Change-up, really nice change-up. He throws it pretty hard, about 92, and has a lot of movement and deception. So that's going to be a big pitch. So he's really, I think, made a ton of progress.
When you talk about the confidence, how much do you think just getting up here last year and getting a taste of it, and then coming
No
back this year has
doubt,
helped?
no doubt. Each time was better. It's a little tough when you come up, you get in one start, you go back down, and to get settled in and get that sense of belonging in the major leagues. Although, with the bloodlines, that's a lot easier for him because he's been around the game all his life. So you still need some success, to breed that confidence, and I think you're starting to see that now in the outings here. He's thrown a lot of strikes, forward pitch mix that he's comfortable throwing, any pitch.
You've been around a lot of players, big prospects, guys who were drafted high, who come with a lot of expectations. Jack seems like none of that phases him. He doesn't worry about external pressures. He's just about himself. Is that a tough thing to do for a young player when they do come with those kind of expectations?
I think, sure. I think it can be. You're getting a lot of attention. I'll put Rocker in there too. Both of them. But they played at Vanderbilt, which I think was a great experience for both of them. You're talking about an elite baseball school, and along with one of them. Grew up in the game of baseball. The other one, his father coaches in the NFL. So, those are things that I think makes it a lot easier for them to handle the attention that they get.
Well, you were out of the game and you were in Nashville. How aware were you of Rocker and Leiter?
Oh yeah, they're big there. Yeah, they're huge. Oh yeah. There are a lot of baseball fans there, a lot of Vanderbilt baseball fans. So, I went out and caught some games, and it's pretty cool, really, to see how the Nashville area supports the Vanderbilt baseball. And I've been out in a few games, and it's a nice ballpark.
Do you know Al very well, Leiter?
Fairly well, yeah.
He and Jack seem like they have very different personalities.
Oh, I'd say, yeah.
Jack seems a little more serious than Al, even when Al pitched.
Right. You got a left-hander though, and a right-hander, so that's the difference.
What would you like to see from Rocker today compared to
I liked his stuff. He didn't have a slider to go with it, and that's a difference maker for him. So, still use that fastball. It's a big pitch for him, but he's got to get the breaking ball going. You have to have that off-speed pitch or pitches, to make the fastball work that much better. So I know he's eager to get back on the mound. He only went one inning. That's why we're pitching him on 3 days rest, and he's good to go. And just be himself. Just let it go and. Get that breaking ball down.
With the veterans you have, does somebody have to make room for him, or can he make room for himself?
I think he could make room for himself. It's we try to keep it competitive and keep it and stay open-minded about who's going to be on this staff, and we don't know really. As far as the bullpen, maybe. In the rotation, I think you can say, okay, here's our five. So might be a tougher door to break down, but doesn't mean that doesn't happen. And you make a move to create that spot. So that's up to us to have the best five starters and the best bullpen we can put together.
Kind of the same situation for Leiter.
I'm sorry.
Kind of the same situation.
Yeah, very similar. They both could, if they make the club in the bullpen, they can give you links there. It's the old school way of developing pitchers. But again, we'll see where we're at as we get toward the end of spring training.
You might have said this the other day. How many spots do you think are up for grabs in the rotation? 2, 1?
In the rotation?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if they're up for grab.
Well,
Yeah,
you know.
we got some, guys there that, they have to be beat out, to be honest. They're, but it doesn't mean that doesn't happen, or you don't, knock on wood, no injuries. You got to have depth in the rotation and in the bullpen, and we think we have that. We got 40 pitchers in camp here, so I think we have some options.
Is there an update on Jacob?
10:50 thrown alive, and he'll throw a bullpen after that, and he should pitch on Friday. So he's coming along nicely. He's ready to go.
Pitch in a game next Friday.
Yeah.
I feel like in 23, I mean, this was like a similar pace to his build-up as 23. Like, he didn't pitch first time through in a game, right? There's no, I don't know how much you remember about that, but like, he pitched opening day 23, and it seemed like he was, I don't want to say delayed, because it's delayed based on what we're used to, I guess. But maybe not for now.
Yeah. And, there's time. He'll get the innings he needs to be ready, to pitch that first week.
How is Wyatt Langford doing?
He's doing great. I saw his workout yesterday, and he's about ready to go. Right now he's taking some swings in the cages, doing his thing. He's letting it go. So you'll see him here soon in a few days.
About Walcott, Boch, is he doing anything more?
Yeah, he pinch hit yesterday. He's good to play short now. You could see him today. We do have 2 games tomorrow, a B game and a A game, so yeah, he's all set.
Jacob come out all right yesterday?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Feels good. All went well. Looks like Friday, March 7th. That is Friday, right? He'll make his debut.
When you look at the offense in general, you were number one in everything when you wanted slugging, base percentage, and those numbers fell last year to 8th and 10th for a lot of different reasons. When you look at this offense, how close do you think it can be to getting back to where you were 2 years ago?
Oh, I think this offense can get back to where it was in 23. That's what we need to do too. That's kind of our identity right now. The slug on this team, and when you acquire 2 players that we acquired, Peterson, of course, and Berger, that's certainly going to help. But probably as much as that is guys getting back to being who they are and just being healthy. I'm talking about Young and Carter, but Jonah had a down year, Garcia. So yeah, I think potentially this team should be where it was in 23. That's how good I think we can be offensively.
John Gray, you've seen it 2 years now where he'll have months or stretches where he looks like an ace, and then he'll stumble the next month, right? Now that you've seen that up close a few times, what is the difference between John at his best and John when he's struggling, and how do you kind of bridge the gap between those two things?
Yeah, well, first of all, like all the pitchers, if they're going well, they're locating. Johnny gets off track a little bit. He's not going to quite be as good. Now, he was dealing with that neuroma, and that's been taken care of. He's putting some weight on. He looks good. He's in a really good place, and so I think we'll see Johnny be more consistent this year. He feels really good with all 4 pitches. I like to see him use all 4. I'm talking about the changeup and curveball a little bit more instead of just fastball, slider. He has a tendency to want to go there, but he's got two other good pitches to help him out there, and so no, he's in a good place. I really expect him to have a good year.
But it seems like you have a lot of arms who aren't going to necessarily be candidates for the open day roster, but who could be in a position to come up in May or June and just kind of help fill the tank. How important is that through a year? I know we focus so much on the opening day roster, but to have more in the tank, I guess, so to speak, to come up, and whether it's for a couple weeks or maybe
Right.
for a longer stretch.
Yeah, that's, CY and I have talked about that quite a bit, and how important depth is, and we have 41 pitchers here in camp, and so you're going to have to deal with the injuries, or maybe guys just need a break, and so it's going to be critical that we have guys that come up and help us out, both in the bullpen and in the rotation, and we have that here. We have some really tough calls to make, I think, when we get toward the end of spring training on who's with us, and but we have some good young arms, we have some experienced arms, so we need those guys down there to help us out. It's going to happen, you know it, and what's important is we have coverage, and we certainly think we have that.
What have you seen, or what throughout the years in Chris Martin, and what does he mean adding into the team?
Strike thrower. I mean, he attacks the hitters well. That's his strength with good stuff. Thought he had a good outing facing live hitters. A couple days ago, he's pitching today, so I'm looking forward to watching him. I think this is his second time out. He did throw in a B game. He started that one, but he's had a ton of success, in that high leverage situation. So, he's one of our guys that will be helping us get the last few outs.
He, doesn't have a ton of closing experience, but is there something with, when you're looking at guys who could potentially be closers, what do you look for? Obviously, the stuff, the talent, but is there a mental thing you need to see when you're
I think all
closers?
the above, what you're talking about, and he hasn't done a lot of closing, and like I said, right now I'd say we're not going to have a defined closer. But we have some guys that we think we can get the matchups that we want. That's part of our job. And you're going to see, Jackson throw today. He's probably saved us more games than the rest of them, for example. Webb threw yesterday. I think he's trending, up right now in spring training. Garcia, big stuff. So he's going to be in the mix. Really, when even a guy like Milner, who's pitching today, I don't know who's coming up in the ninth inning, but it could be him, for example. So we'll see where we're at, and these things sometimes they end up just working themselves out to where to get, use the guys you want to use. Going back to 23, we talked about yesterday. Things went awry there when Leclerc had his struggles. We were trying to, mix it up. Smitty ended up closing games, and so it is a priority for us. I can tell you that.
You mentioned DeGrom was fine yesterday. Can you afford in your spare time or whatever to think about what it would be like if he makes 25 starts?
No, man. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, he certainly will make us a different club if he makes 25 starts. There's no getting around that. That's how good he is, and we're going to do all we can to make sure that happens. And I don't want to use the word cautious, but we will watch his workload, and he's missed a lot of time, but I think he can handle it, and if we handle him in the right way, and hopefully we do that.
Do you ever talk about six-man rotation with guys like him and Aldi?
Has it been brought up? Sure. Yeah, sure. So, are we going to rule it out? No, but we have days off early, so and early go. You don't want to get to where you give them too many days off either. You want them to get on the roll, but if we have to adjust to that, yeah, we'll do it.
You figure he'll be stretched out by the start of the season?
Yeah, he'll get enough innings. He's been throwing pins and threw live yesterday. So
Friday he'll pitch a normal 30 pitches or whatever.
Yeah.